Just wanted to give you a little preview of what you'll see today and why we are all here today. So, the German-American Steuben Parade is one of the largest celebrations of German culture in the United States, as well as one of the most colorful on Fifth Avenue. This is our 61st parade that began as an inspirational march of German Americans through Glendale and Ridgewood, Queens on Myrtle Avenue that led to the first parade on Fifth Avenue. The Steuben Parade mainly serves three purposes: to celebrate the achievements of historic German Americans and Americans of German descent, of which there are numerous, to help German immigrants keep their traditions and culture alive, and to strengthen German-American friendships. This year, our parade recognizes the 70th anniversary of the Berlin airlift of World War II, inspired by Colonel Gail Halverson, nicknamed the Candy Bomber. We also are celebrating German wines that we hope will inspire some of you to finally take that long-desired trip to Germany to experience all she has to offer. We'll hear traditional and some not-so-traditional music. You'll see some four-legged friends and great German beers, wine, and food. It includes, that always gets a rise. It includes 24 groups who have traveled from overseas, including many from Baden-Württemberg and Nordrhein-Westfalen, Germany, and one from Austria, with many hundreds of marchers that are either musical in nature, including dance groups known as Tanzgruppes, and marching groups who wear special tracts or uniforms that signify their native town or group in Germany. We'll also have some carnival groups who celebrate Carnival season from November through Shrove Tuesday, or Fat Tuesday, right before Lent. And we have hundreds of marchers from German-American communities from many states in the US, as well as very many theme floats. So the highlights of our parade this year, of course, a float celebrating Generals von Steuben, the namesake of our parade, and George Washington at Valley Forge during the Revolutionary War. Our Grand Marshals this year are Peter Bayer of the German Bundestag and Helmut Jahn, architect of very famous buildings around the world, including New York City. Floats with the queens and courts of the various regions celebrating their German-American heritage. You'll see groups of man's best friends with strong German heritage, the Doberman Gang. Floats about teaching and learning German, the Hofbräu München, and the 2018 Maßkrügstemmen competitors. And the parade is always presided over by Miss German America, originally known as the Kornblumenkönigin, or Cornflower Queen, and her court. This year's queen is Pavlina Schriel, who gave a very lovely speech last night to our German American Steuben Gala, and she led us in both our American and German anthems. If you were lucky enough to purchase a ticket to our Oktoberfest this afternoon in Central Park, besides some of the best German beers, you'll get to enjoy some of the best German Bratwurst, Apfelstrudel, potato pancakes, German wines, and other delicacies. You'll hear some great bands and witness for yourself a competition to determine the next Maßkrügstemmen champion. We'll give you some facts and tidbits about the enormous contributions made to America and the world by German Americans and Americans of German descent. We'll also give you some information on German restaurants where you may dine in, dine out, or order online. You'll see groups of Schublattlers. So now you have to pay attention because these are the German words that you'll be hearing over and over again just in case you don't know them. Schublattler, the Bavarian dancers in traditional Tracht, Dirndls, and Lederhosen, the leather shorts worn by the Bavarian men. The Dirndls and Trachts are the special dress wear worn by the women. Feuerwehr, Feuerwehr, or fighter groups from overseas. When you hear the word Freiwillige before the word Feuer, it means volunteer firefighter. Groups of Schützenclubs, lots and lots of Schützenclubs. These are the marksmen and target shooters from overseas. Schützengroups or Schützenvereins are very prevalent in Germany, given that they were the original people hundreds of years ago who were in charge of protecting the citizens of their neighborhoods and cities. And a carnival division that is always a surprise. At the conclusion of the parade, our grand marshals, dignitaries, and German-American Steuben Parade officials will join us with a band from Germany who will lead us in the anthems of our two respective countries. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the 61st German-American Steuben Parade 2018. Relax, get ready for some fun, and if we learn something new along the way, all the better. Dankeschön. Where we stand independent and free. In many aspects of our lives today, German Americans from the past and the present have made our lives in America and around the world better and easier. They've helped us improve our health, taken care of our clothing needs, seen to our beer, meat, cheese, and condiment needs, made advancements in science, art, finance, our on-the-ground travel, as well as in the skies, improved our outdoors, and opened up out-of-this-world doors. They've tended to our computer and social media needs and offered us some treats when you just need a little something sweet. They've made places for us to stay and provided us with entertainment while home and away. They've established places for us to store our money and countless ways for us to spend that money. Throughout the day, we'll be bringing you the names of many of the people responsible for these and other improvements. And while we have quiet time during some of our divisions or some of our groups, we will hopefully entertain you with a little German music. Where would we be without, well, dare I say, our sex therapist, Ruth Westheimer?
Jawohl!
We saw her several weeks ago at the dignitary reception, and she has turned 90 years old. And at 90, and in front of a group of New Yorkers, no less, she can still make you blush. Susan Ford, the daughter of President Gerald Ford, Edward Cox, son-in-law of President Richard Nixon, Duncan Niederauer, former CEO of the New York Stock Exchange, and Dr. Michael Müller from Hofbräu, Munich, Germany. And I see our first cars coming up, our first division, with our honored guests, our parade officials, our armed services, our Steuben associations in civil service will be coming down shortly. This group is made up of the New York City Police Department, the police departments of Nassau County and Suffolk County. It's made up of our U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, and it's made up also, you will see the float of General von Steuben. And von Steuben, of course, in the Revolutionary War, secured our freedom by training George Washington's troops. He came over from Prussia in 1777 and took a very tired, cold, hungry group of military troops and trained them. And there is a book that he authored called Regulation for the Order of Discipline of the Troops of the United States, and that is nicknamed the Blue Book, and it's still used today as the blueprint for training some of our troops. Von Steuben was the first Inspector General of the U.S. Army and composed the curriculum for the U.S. Military Academy in West Point. And so when that float comes by, that is why we celebrate Steuben on the third Saturday of every September, coinciding with the birth of von Steuben. So, Here we go, our first division. With our honored guests, our parade officials, our armed forces, Steuben associations, and civil service. I hear music. Today's parade and every parade in New York City begins with our escorts provided by NYPD's mounted unit. The officers are accompanied by their specially trained horses who provide an invaluable service to the citizens of New York in all 5 boroughs. Every day, they are utilized to control traffic in emergency situations, keeping crowds moving when necessary, and navigating small areas. Thank you. Thank you, mounted officers, for your most valuable contributions to the NYPD. Thank you very, very much for your service and for always putting your lives on the line for our safety. And these must be German horses because they have left nothing behind.
Our first band is the Bundeswehr Music Corps. They're from Poland, Germany. This year they join us from Poland, Germany. The military bands of the Bundeswehr include the German Army, Air Force, Navy, and joint bands. In the past, the military musicians of the Bundeswehr constituted a specialist service.
And looking for you, military folks looking for you. And here is U.S. Senator candidate Shelley Farley. Welcome to our parade. Appreciate that. And Peter Holberg, State Senate candidate. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. State Senator Pete Holberg.
Julie Killian is also running for
Thank you.
Lieutenant Governor for New York. Welcome. New York State Assembly, Dr. Jeff Asherman. Welcome, welcome. And here's our Steuben float. So, this year the Steuben Society is celebrating their 99th anniversary. On the float as General von Steuben, Peter J. Steuben, and General George Washington is played by Larry Rugen. Marching on the float, or near the float, units of the Steuben Society of America.
Our next float is Miss German America 2018, the Steuben Parade Queen and her court. This float is sponsored by a friend of the German American Steuben Parade, and Miss German America and Steuben Parade Queen this year is Pavlina Schriel, Princess Sean Tomlinson, Princess Kirsten Richard Garcia, Junior Princess Catherine Johanna Husfeth Larson, Junior Princess Amelia Elsa Schweitzer, and Junior General William Castle.
Nichts auf Deutsch.
Welcome to our court. And last night, Pavlina led us in our German and American anthems and did a terrific job with all the rest of us joining in. So we thank her for that, and perhaps she'll be able to help us a little later on at the end of the parade when we have our anthems. And coming up is our Grand Council and Steuben Associations in Civil Service with Mike Shavlin, President, and Executive Board Member Roland Sennett. The Grand Council of Steuben Association in Civil Service was founded in 1965 to unite the Steuben Associations in Civil Service. This year the parade recognizes and mourns the passing of Grand Council President, a dear friend and longtime supporter of the parade, John Wellenroyer, who passed away in July. But to keep things in order, and who will be at my right hand, will be newly elected President, Mike Shavlin. Congratulations, Mike. And carrying our banner today to the Grand Council are Michelle Shavlin and Samantha Drucker. Welcome. Hello, Mike. The organization consists of 8 Steuben associations. And our flags, we have 3 of them, the official flags of the Steuben Parade. The American flag used by President Dwight Eisenhower in 1957, the flag of the Federal Republic of Germany by President Theodor Heuss, and German-American Steuben flags depicting General von Steuben and the uniform of the flag.
We also have the Steuben Association of Port Authority Police of New York and New Jersey, and the band you are hearing right now is the New York City Police Department Marching Band. Association is comprised of law enforcement officers from the various police departments within Nassau County, formed in 1964. The current president is Scott Aberman. For the past several years, the Nassau and Suffolk County Steuben Associations has held a Summerfest with over 500 students. Thank you so much, Nassau County police officers, for protecting our lives every day. Coming up, the New York City Police Department Marching Band with their Lieutenant Anthony Giorgio. The marching band is leading the men and women who represent the NYPD Steuben Association.
We now have the Police Association of Rockland County President Glenn Dietrich. Leading the group is a Clarkstown Police Honor Guard and Association President Detective Lieutenant Dietrich. This year, the Police Steuben Association of Rockland County dedicates their march to our dear friend John Wellenreuter. The association was established in 2000 and made up of police officers, both active and retired, who live or work in Rockland County. The group is proud of their German-American heritage and is honored to be marching in the Steuben Parade. Each year, the association gathers in April for its annual pig roast, which supports their scholarship programs with various law enforcement charities. We now have our U.S. Customs and Border Protection Honor Guard from the New York Field Office under Director Frank Russo, followed by the Steuben Association of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, their President and former Steuben Queen, Jane Ann Cordero, and Supervisor Vincent Martucci. The largest federal law enforcement agency in Homeland Security. It oversees the safeguarding of American borders while fostering our nation's economic security through lawful trade and travel, while serving the American public with vigilance. They protect the American people against terrorists and instruments of terror. In addition, each year the CBP agriculture officers intercept tens of thousands of pests which could harm our U.S. agricultural resources. Jane, Ken, Eng, and Vincent have received the Commissioner's Award for Diversity and Inclusion, and we're honored to have Dr. Ruth Westheimer and Dr. Henry Kissinger contribute to them getting this prestigious award for EEO and diversity.
And next we have the Steuben Association Fire Department, President John Luthen. The Fire Department, City of New York Steuben Association, was founded in 1963 and represents German-American firefighters. Every June, the FDNY holds a family day at Flatbush Park, as well as an annual Oktoberfest. They also take annual trips to Germany. The association's president is firefighter John Luthen.
And coming up, a group from overseas, the Feuerwehr Freunde, New York City. This group was founded in 2005 by a small group of German firefighters as rescue crew members who became friends after attending a 9/11 memorial ceremony. They are interested in learning more about the FDNY as well as sightseeing in New York. They also joined us in 2016. The Stratmann Deutsche Mechanische Feuerwehr Freunde, and remember what I said, Feuerwehr Freunde, Feuerwehr, and volunteer. The Stratmann European Friends of the FDNY are firefighters and have marched 21 parades already. Steuben Parade. So for our Freunde that just passed, they're interested in learning more about the FDNY as well as sightseeing. And the Stratmann, their trip also arranges for a professional exchange of firefighting experiences and techniques between American and European fighters. This year they were represented by 75 firefighters. we welcome the German Language Club. And even though this is a German-American parade, you have to remember that it's not New Orleans, it's New Orleans. We have our second division, the chair division, and leading off with their national colors and streamers, we have our acting president, Sonia Duran-Pleasure, vice president, second vice president, Elfrida Huffman. We have our associated clubs, the Good Chair Relief Association, the Good Chair Medencorps, the Good Chair Vereinigung, Blau-Weiß Good Chair Soccer Club, which I'm sure we'll see in just a little bit, Good Chair Bowling Club, the Deutsch Good Chair Gesangverein, the Good Chair Kranken Unterstützungsgesangverein, the Good Chair Rod and Gun Club, Good Chair Central Holding Corp, Good Chair Zeitung, Good Chair Memorial, hello there Sonia, and we have the Erste Good Chair Tanzgruppe with their president, Dorothy Neubauer. And coming up, riding in a car, which I will find out in a moment, is Miss Gautier, riding in a cabriolet, Miss Gautier, Jillian Guile. Jillian has been a member of the Erste Good Chair Tanzgruppe for 14 years. She's attending St. John's University, pursuing her bachelor's degree in adolescent education. A graduate of Mary Louis Academy, Jillian received the Women in Science Award for outstanding performance in science and math, and was a founding member of the school's German club, where she served as vice president. Welcome, Jillian. And I see, I'll be saying thank you, Mike. And Miss Gautier is in the cabriolet, driven by none other than Roland Bailey and chaperoned Papa